So I'm standing here with Chris, who is part of the Regional Water Providers Consortium. And Chris, today we're going to be talking about a lot of things, but certainly lawns, because I think in most humans' minds, we see a brown lawn and we think that that's terrible, it's bad, those people aren't good gardeners, why don't they take care of their place?
Sure.
But let's talk about that a little, because really it's not that bad, is it?
No, it's not that bad. And in fact, over the years, I've seen more and more people going towards letting their lawns go dormant, because they don't die. They're just going dormant in the summer.
And people need to realize that it's not because you're a lazy gardener or you don't want a beautiful home, but as you know, as money is money.
Sure.
And to keep a lawn green, how long do you think you would have to water to make it green?
Well, we suggest to people that 1 inch a week on your lawn works really, really well. Of course, when it gets really, really hot and really dry, you're going to be wanting to put down more water than that. But it does take a significant amount of water to keep those lawns green. And the bigger lawn you have, you know, the bigger it is, the more water you're using.
And you just want to make sure that people know that just because it's brown doesn't mean it's dead, because Lord knows the weeds keep coming up.
Yes, no problem there. Yeah, the weeds really like it. And no, it's dormant. This, you know, the traditional type of grass that we use for lawns in this area, its nature is to go dormant when it gets too hot outside, and obviously when there's not enough rain to keep them green, so that's what happens.
And that is not to say that you can't still have beautiful flower beds, edible stuff, because I noticed here in this lawn, two things have struck me. Certainly right around where clearly there is water being placed, where the beds are, there is a little line of green. But then here in front, this seems, do you water this whole thing? Because there's a lot of thing here, but it's not water that keeps this green, is it, as much?
No, it's actually the shade coming from the roof and the eave of the house. In fact, right here, you can just see a line.
It's very clear.
And if you spent the whole day here and sat on the front porch, you would see that this is completely shaded during the summertime. So this stays really green. You know, I do water these beds, but the beds specifically, and you get a little bit of trailing out. So around the beds, it stays kind of green.
Even at this one up here, I've noticed that around the whole structure, this is kind of a kidney-shaped bed. About 3 feet out, there is some moisture. So that's not because you're watering out here necessarily. No. That's just the way the soil's working.
Yeah, exactly. It's just because this gets a good amount of water. But even at that, with these beds here, I didn't start watering until the last weekend of June.
Really?
And yeah, I let it go. And then what I've done is I just set a small sprinkler out here for about 15 minutes. Move it 15 minutes. I'm very specific to make sure it's just watering the beds, you know, just not anything and everything. And it's working great. The mulch.
I was going to say, this looks like fresh mulch.
Yeah, the mulch is amazing in, you know, keeping that soil moist and keeping the soil cool. I mean, it's, you know, what that does for the plants is just considerably different than if
Chris,
you didn't
the evidence
have
of that is the area where the house is shaded, that's greener too.
Yeah.
But there's also some edible stuff. So let's run back to the backyard real quick and take a look at some more stuff, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, now we have walked back to the backyard, and right off the bat I've noticed that you clearly have made some choices about what plants go where. Why is that?
Well, every plant has its own particular need, and you know, that's light exposure, that's soil types, that's watering needs. And so what I try to do is that all of those plants, you know, that have like needs go together in the same place. So, you know, for instance, this right here, I did a little raised bed to put the vegetables in because they do need a little more water than everybody else. And so that tends to work out really well here. Nice exposure for the sun, of course, you know, putting your taller plants to the back and everything. Along here, these plants right here get a nice shot of the mostly morning sun, midday, but then once it starts to get really, really hot, they start to get shaded by the tree and then the fence and everything. And again, you know, I just don't water anything around here that much unless it's bearing fruit for me. I don't put a lot into it. But I most definitely am very mindful about, again, I think most important things is know your light exposure, know your soil and the watering needs, and then get all of those plants together.
And It's okay to fail once in a while, isn't it? To learn.
Because I do all the
I know,
time.
so do I.
Oh, without a doubt. I'll be like, oh, that's not right. Dig it up and put it somewhere else. Yeah, don't feel like that's a failure. That's
Yeah.
a learning experience. And
Certainly
that's the
is.
fun and
That's
the
the
love
fun of
of
gardening.
gardening.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We're clearly saying the same thing here.
Yeah,
Well, you
the
know,
labor of love.
It is. It is a label of love, a labor of love. Well, you know, there is so much to know about watering and the best way to water and how to use our water wisely. That's a real important thing for all of us to learn. So as you're learning about plants, you can also learn about water. We certainly tell you to go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to their website. They have a host of information on their website. So really, this has been interesting. Thank you so much, Chris.
Oh, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.